Ever feel like you're at a rock concert, trying to have a conversation?
You can't even hear yourself think.
Exactly. That's what it's like trying to get your marketing message heard these days. There's just so much noise out there. But we're going to unpack how to cut through all that
Yeah, cut through that noise.
during this deep dive into story brand marketing,
Yes.
using Donald Miller's Building a Story Brand and Marketing Made Simple as our trusty guides.
And that's where the power of story comes in. See, Miller, he's got this idea. He says, people, we're hardwired for story. We gravitate towards these narratives that really get at our deepest desires and fears.
Okay, so it's more than just like slapping a catchy tagline on something.
Yeah.
You're saying we need to approach our marketing like we're crafting, like a blockbuster movie. Yeah.
Exactly. But instead of car chases and explosions, we're tapping into something way more primal, that human desire for survival and thriving. Every great story, right? It's about a character facing some sort of threat. Their world's turned upside down, and then, boom, they overcome obstacles to reach a better place.
Okay, so how do we translate that to selling, say, shoes? We're not exactly saving the world from, like, an alien invasion here.
That's where it gets really interesting. You got to figure out what those deeper needs and aspirations are that your product or service is really fulfilling. Let's say your shoes are all about comfort and support. You're not just selling footwear anymore, you're selling relief from aching feet. You're selling the ability to stay active, maybe even a boost of confidence.
So instead of hitting them with the features, like, hey, our shoes have extra arch support, we're talking about, like, the benefits. Conquer your day without your feet holding you back. I like the sound of that.
Precisely. See, Miller, he breaks the problems customers face into 3 levels. You got your external, your internal, and your philosophical. He makes a big deal about those internal struggles, those anxieties and aspirations. That's the real hook.
So going back to our shoes, it's not just about the shoe itself. It's about calming that worry someone might have about, like, keeping up with their grandkids because their feet are killing them.
Now you're getting it. You're tapping into that fear of missing out, that desire to stay, youthful and active. Your shoes, they're not just footwear, they're a solution, to help your customer live their best life.
Okay, so we're starting to get a clearer picture now. This primal need for story, and we're connecting our product to the customer's internal world. But where do we fit in all this? Are we like the heroes of the story? So we're crafting a story, right? We're connecting with the customer on a deeper level. But where do we fit in all of this? Are we like the Luke Skywalker of our brand's story?
That's where a lot of brands, they kind of miss the mark. They make it all about them. But, customers, they're not looking for another hero to worship. What they really want is a guide, someone to help them reach their own potential.
Okay, so how do we shift that focus? Instead of, look how amazing our shoes are, it's more like, here's how you can achieve greatness with the help of our shoes.
You got it. Think about those classic adventure films, like Indiana Jones. You've got your hero. They're off on this epic quest.
Right.
And there's always, that wise old mentor, that trusty sidekick, someone who's there to provide guidance, tools, maybe a little support along the way. That's your brand. You're that supporting character.
So we're talking Yoda guiding Luke? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. You're not there to steal the show. You're there to offer your expertise and help the customer overcome their challenges.
Right. But those movies also have a lot of drama, right? And danger. How do we work that in, that sense of urgency, without going overboard and being negative? Like, I'm not going to tell people their feet are going to shrivel up if they don't buy these shoes.
Of course, of course. But Miller has this great point about steaks. He uses that salt analogy.
Yeah, I remember that.
Too much salt ruins the dish. But without a little bit, everything just tastes bland. It's about highlighting what's at stake. What happens if they don't engage,
So, like, don't let foot pain hold you back from living your best life. It's subtle, but it hints at what they could be missing.
Now you're getting it. And once you've established those stakes, you can really lean into the empathy, acknowledge their pain points, show them you get it, you understand their struggles.
So instead of just, like, listing a bunch of features about how comfortable our shoes are, we might say something like, we know how frustrating it is to have your whole day derailed by foot pain. That's why we designed.
Boom. There you go. That type of language, it creates instant trust because it shows you're not just there to make a quick buck. You're there to help.
And then how do we, gently nudge them towards that solution? It can't just be buy our shoes.
Definitely not. That's where those clear calls to action come into play. Miller's a big advocate for making it super easy for customers to take that next step. Whether it's a big, bold Shop Now button on your website or a crystal clear offer in your emails, you want to remove any obstacle that might be in their way.
Okay, so let me make sure I've got this straight. Positioning ourselves as guides, highlighting the stakes, showing empathy, clear calls to action. We're building a solid game plan here, right? But before we jump into the nitty-gritty, I want to talk about implementation. It's one thing to talk about it, but how do we actually make it happen? All right, so we've got our story brand strategy in place.
Now it's time to put it into action.
Exactly. And Miller's Marketing Made Simple is a gold mine when it comes to practical tools.
It's refreshing, actually. He doesn't get bogged down in these complex campaigns or, assume you have a massive budget.
Right.
It's all about breaking it down.
Yeah.
Simple steps.
Manageable steps.
Exactly. And making sure your message is consistent
Across the board.
across every single touch point.
So it's not just about, like, sprucing up our website with a little story brand magic and calling it a day.
Not at all. Think of it more like weaving a narrative.
Okay.
And that narrative has to be woven through everything you do.
From the ground up.
And it starts with
Starts with your one-liner.
your one line.
That one sentence, clear and concise, that just sums up your brand. Okay, I've heard of elevator pitches, but this sounds even...
more bare bones.
Yeah, how do you even fit it all in?
You have to identify that core problem that you're solving,
Okay.
the solution you bring to the table,
Yeah.
and the outcome the customer's hoping for.
So it's like that problem, solution, desired outcome formula.
Exactly. Miller actually uses a great example in the book.
Oh, yeah.
This design firm, they were struggling to attract clients.
I can relate.
And they stumbled upon their competitor's website, and it was simple.
Okay.
Maybe even a little too simple.
Okay.
But they had this statement: if you're worried about a presentation, we can help you hit a grand slam.
Wow.
Problem, solution, desired outcome, boom.
I love that. I love that hit a grand slam. So we need to get that one-liner everywhere.
Everywhere. Your website, your business cards, your social media, everything.
So people hear it.
It's your anchor, keeps your message consistent.
Keeps it front and center. Now, speaking of websites, Miller really seems to think they're important. He talks about these 5 key elements, and especially that header.
That header is make or break.
Really?
It's the first impression. It's that digital handshake.
That's a good way to put it.
50%. That's what Miller says.
Wow.
50% responsible for whether someone stays on your site or clicks away.
No pressure.
You got to grab them.
Immediately.
You got to tell them what you offer, and you got to do it fast.
So no burying the lead?
No walls of text.
Definitely not.
Miller recommends contrasting positive and negative messaging
Okay.
to keep people engaged,
Oh, interesting.
highlight the problem they're facing,
Right.
and then present your product or service as the answer.
And all within that header.
All within that header space.
Okay, I see how this is all coming together.
It's all
The
connected.
one-liner, the website, it's all telling that same story brand story.
Exactly.
But how do we keep that momentum going? How do we stay top of mind?
Email marketing.
Okay, so we're not just constantly hitting them with sales pitches,
Well,
right?
no. This is about providing genuine value, becoming a trusted resource,
Right.
and then strategically weaving in a promotion here, a special offer there.
Gotcha. So you don't want to bombard people.
Exactly. You want to nurture those relationships.
This has been great. We've gone from the power of story to, like, really practical tactics. We've unlocked the secret code.
And this is just the beginning. Once you start thinking like a story brand, the possibilities are endless.
So true. You've given us so much to think about. That killer one-liner, building a website that converts. But it's not just about checking off boxes, is it? It's about bringing your brand story to life in everything you do. Answering the phone, welcoming a new team member, every interaction is a chance to tell your story. So experiment, have fun with it, and watch your business thrive. Until next time.